Good morning and welcome to the Crypto A Day Morning, and today's date comes in that of Thursday, 10th of January 2019. All bets, trades of the like, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. The Bitcoin price fell rapidly this morning as it came down not quite to the Fibonacci level of around 3,700, but quite to the 18 lows and that of 3,786, with the lows coming in at the 57 handle right now at 3771. Looking at this, before we look at this on multiple time frames, when we see this, we have the rally that came up to the Fibonacci level of 41 and had a few days trying to get above there, was unable to do so, came back to the 18 lows and corrected for several days within such. 18 was starting to go flat on the 4th and 5th, but it had a good rally up to but not above the 4100 mark, spending 3 days going sideways with microscopic volatility above the 18 average of highs and below the 41s, and indecision period mode, which was obviously resolved to the downside. And in this situation, yeah, correctionary move, we're still looking for that break above resistance. It strengthens how big of a move it would be now that if it's able, keyword, if it's able to go up there, or keywords. And whenever I see a rally attempt like this, it's trying, it's working, it's attempting to get above. If it fails amongst its attempt, almost like running out of breath, losing energy, or the bear is getting out of energy, and you can have a decent sized decline. If we start to see some further weakness amongst this area, definitely continuation for concern, and really the deep concern comes on a break of this level of support, but more importantly, even a break and hold closer to like the mid 30, like below 3,500. Shorter term time frames. For 1 hour time, there it is. It just happened extremely fast, and I'm just gonna move this to the 1 and take it to 1 in the morning because that's when it happened. As the last time it was over 4,000 was this point in here, 1:30 in the morning, had already broken down this level of support and had for the 1 minute time frame a decent sized decline. Overall, from the 18 average of highs fall, it was a loss of about 0.5%, and then it just goes down like that, and even a bit more. So that was the decline. 5 minutes straight down, the correctionary move, then the next move to take it to its lows from 38.5 down to 37.5. Therefore, these are big game players that would be doing that would be making these sells, of course. The 1 minute time frame on Bitstamp exchange looked around like this. Bitfinex, which is a little bit higher, a few percent. It also had pretty much the similar decline, so big selling, big volume everywhere across the board. When we include that of the Tether as well, the inverse of the TUSD, which it had, of course, its opposite, which would be that of its rise. All happening really, really quickly. Other coins. There's a LITECOIN on the Bitstamp exchange against the US dollar as around 130 here, falling from 38 instantly down to 35, and then again in the 34 and change level. So therefore, if we take a look at this one on multiple time frames, I'm going to fast forward this to current. There it is, moving higher. Now we're retracing some of these key levels. 4 hour term time frame back to where it came from on the last key resistance area. Its area, of course, the upper part, 36, and not counting its support, but its resistance. What's the deep part of the resistance? You're talking about 32. If it's going to come back to around here, it was exact resistance here, this point, and here at 1900, these points, piercing well above this, and then this level of resistance. If it's going to have an area and go as far as it can, as I consider, for where it would come from on the daily chart, it's going to come down to this 18 average test, Fibonacci retracement. There's a low in here. I see it in at 22 2/9. And a high at 41.17. And for me, this paints the Fibonacci, or it shows me the Fibonacci numbers in that of 35.5, then 32.5. So 35.5 is where we're first coming down to now. If this isn't going to be support, we're looking at, again, 32.5. 35 is more of a short term, but 32.5 coincides more with this previous high. A 61.8% down move represents 38.2 up, coming in at 28. That would be the pretty much must-hold area for looking at market maneuvers. You have point A high, the correctionary move, point B high, and now you're back to point A high in this area here. And that's normal amongst bull markets, and sometimes it goes a bit deeper and ultimately fails. Therefore, we'll be talking about the possibility of head and shoulders patterns in here after we had the inverted one on this point, because this would be left, head, and then if you can make it to the neckline of this, which would translate, of course, into a 61.8% fib level down, and then that would be an area you'd be starting to talk about, like I was stating, if this fails, that big failed break higher, fast move lower. But the whole point, again, is I need to see weakness amongst this level. If you see price action hanging around 25.26, then now we can start talking about the Fibonacci downside that I have, which is $15. Because we have a low, what I'd like for this to work, I need a downtrend, and then I take its retracement, its price correction, which is what we're seeing here. 22 low, 41 high, and breaking that support, we're looking at about 15 or so. But I will not convincingly be thinking that's going to be coming into play. And if I see price breaking below 26, then at that point I'll be changing my tune along the market. The status on this recently changed into that of bull market territory. It did so breaking this resistance. And therefore, if all you have on bear market territory is no further gains or very little at all, that constitutes the failed move. But I've seen several times that what happens on the break, it has its price correction, and then it ends up oftentimes finding successful correctionary moves. And if that's the case, well, it will obviously do so. Well, I'll wait and see within time. Let's take a look at Bitcoin against, or Litecoin against Bitcoin. And it's got a little ways to go to get back to its neckline for its inverted head and shoulders pattern. And then on the single hour time frame, it pretty much all started going down together around this time, and it pretty much was amongst the base cryptocurrencies. It would all do such for the most part, not all of them, because as it goes with the Litecoin against Ethereum, it's a matter of division, and well, within its 4-hour time frame on the last Litecoin rally, it's still correcting within its 18 average, and just having like a whatever day on the daily chart, well, that's because Ethereum is also falling. And it's down against Bitcoin, when Bitcoin's down 5%. This is down 7%, so that means Ethereum is down about a dozen against the dollar. Back to this level. Now we're talking about filling this empty space, Fibonacci retracement, so I can see in here what's the base low. I'm just going to round it to an easy number to remember, like I did last time with the 22.22, 246, and a high of 41.67. And I'm not going to put the 76 forward. I'm going to mainly just put the these two numbers in there, which is the 3400 and the 300 handle. And as of now, it is pierced noticeably above that line. Usually it pierces extra. It very easily still can. As we look at this on the 4-hour, there's the break of support. Red candle down on its third right now. So I could very easily see how this can handle the 335 point. I'm not trading this cross. I am, however, trading this against other coins. I've only had one sell order on the exchange, or one buy of Ethereum back. That was on Qtum. And that was before all this stuff was happening. So I woke up and I looked at my orders. I'm like, wow, a lot of buy orders against Bitcoin. Like almost everything, for the most part. At least all the bigger ones. And then I noticed, oh, I also have a sale, like Qtum against Ethereum. And I kind of realized what was going on when I looked at all of those things, that pretty much everything was going down. Surprised to see on Bittrex that I only had one buy, which kind of doesn't count because I was expecting it. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But as we see this, still looking to go down. I got to think that this isn't over yet. It's going to break down below this and then go below the Fibonacci lows. And I think at that point there, The most mathematical odds within such is that it continues to go lower down to here, and we're either going to find a stop place where it stops going lower, or this thing is going to go down to that 30 level relatively fast. Because if support doesn't come where it's supposed to, it's usually a fast move to next level, and I've already figured that out, what the next level is. So therefore, this is the Fibonacci levels, areas where I look to have buy orders in, and on the way down if I'm trading it. And then up next, Cardano. I put these lines in before. I can't remember why. Maybe they're Fibonacci levels, but it did come down to this level, the 1174. In the single hour time frame, we've seen it fall from 1350 now down to 1189, give it up more than 10% against that of Bitcoin. I guess these are key previous levels of resistance, as that's why they would be in there as they are. So therefore, now we're having that correction, further correctionary mode. 18 average of lows we can see in about 1126, which coincides deeper within this previous level of resistance. Not everything, however, is going down. In fact, some things are rising rapidly. Let's take a look at Ripple, which is really interesting. It's Ripple. Actually, it's Verge. So throw that aside. I was thinking, well, if markets go down and then everything goes into Ripple, like, that's who it is. That's what I was thinking earlier. I'm like, no, it's Verge. I get those two crossed, maybe because of the X in front of the code. But as we can see amongst here, it's completing like a double cup and handle, or however you want to look at it. The reason why a cup and handle formation works out, it's basically like a double bottom, two U's or V's. It's just the second one has a much higher low. And therefore, how it works is wherever you want to draw resistance in this area, because it obviously got established lower, there's your higher low, there's the match, there's the higher low. There's your failed breakdown, it looks like. I haven't seen the short-term time frame yet, but that's the first thing I looked at as well. Or second thing. First thing I noticed was the move. Second thing I noticed, yeah, it broke down below. Failed breakdown beforehand, question mark, probably. Now it's back to this point. Therefore, holding up around here is really what it's going to come down to. Before, it needed to hold up around here because this was the resistance. It did. Now a little bit higher, if it's going to go down from here. Therefore, let's now take a look to see how much of a failed breakdown this was beforehand. 4-hour time frame. This is just crazy. Again, I'm looking at these short terms for the first time. 1 hour, what time did it start at? Really, it started around 7 in the morning. Did it ever go? How did I not sell this right now? I don't know. Especially because this happened at 9 in the morning. Anyway. This thing is going up pretty good. Pretty good. Like, just goes up when the markets are ready to go. Obviously, they're ready to go. I talked about status a few days ago, and it's having its break right now. Its break happened last night before all of this was going down. And the reason why I was talking about it was because of the setup. You have this high, the way this was playing in here, we come in here, back down to this. I probably talked about it as or before it was breaking this level of resistance. But yesterday's session getting above the high range of 527 to 541, making it up past a little over 600, now in at 566. When we look at this on a single hour time frame, again, I'm looking at this short term for the first time since last night. With the 18 average lows, it had the support, like the big sell-off at 1, it went with the market, but it held on to good gains and to go higher, which really tells me something interesting as we move forward. If markets have any type of rally, then this one might participate pretty big. If markets stabilize and base, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and the average coins just go flat, then this might go significantly higher. And if it goes lower, it might continue doing what it's been doing like this and just chop around back and forth. But for it to sell off with the market, then rally like this, definitely nice little run so far. As far as the very short-term 15-minute chart, after all of this choppy resistance level, so far after this correction, it's done okay because it's found support here. This attempt to break out has obviously failed on its first attempt, but it's still on the correctionary mode going higher. So benefit of the doubt, this thing does have decent potential moving forward, and forward is the next several different hours. Let's take a look at a much smaller coin. This is no limit coin. And what I really want to talk about within such can't be shown on this chart, and I'll be showing it to you after I'm done this analysis. We might have hit the bottom. And you're like, well, really, it doesn't look too good. And you know what, maybe not, but we might have. And when I say we might have hit the bottom, I mean 296 as the bottom. I'll explain a little bit. So here we are having this level of support, this range, all that type of stuff after a point A low, point B high, which was pretty good. What was the low in here? I'm seeing 129. We'll go 129. And a high at 4 1/4. 270 represents a 38.2% down correction, which isn't too far off. And of course, I'd expect it to pierce extra if it hits it. And below that 203, basically the 200 number, would be a 61.8% down move. If you look at this on a 4-hour time frame, again, it's just chopping around, but it won't go below the 296. And there's a reason for that, as what you cannot see is what the order book looks like. And I'm not going to show you what it looks like around this point. I'm going to show you what it looked like before midnight, before all of this market craziness was happening. And this is on Bittrex. And it's a small market that doesn't trade for that much volume. But with that being said, what I'm seeing is a decent buy order of 5.5 Bitcoin at 296. Somebody wants to buy pretty big. That's why I'm saying I don't think that there's a decent chance it might not go below it, because it takes 5.5 Bitcoin to do it. With all that being said, 5.5 Bitcoin, we're talking about 20 grand. That's, I mean, you're talking about players in the stock market. Small time players have $20,000 portfolios in a stock. So therefore, this is the crypto market. This is a smaller code amongst such. It can still get taken out by another big game player. That's the one thing to keep in mind within these orders. When we take a look at the sell orders, the counter one was here. 329, someone trying to sell half of about, little under half, 40% of what the person wanted to buy. Whether these people are looking or not, whether they are or they're not, this person hasn't been like, yeah, I'll take your number and then sell it down. That person can. This person hasn't went to 329 and bought a good portion of what they wanted. They can, but they didn't. One of the things I noticed from here is that this tells me someone's serious about getting in, or getting a lot more, getting this amount anyway, within this price point. I have seen spots where this comes in, and this tells me that, oh my goodness, they're going to be able to buy this up pretty good. So if you ever see a spot coming up soon where this doubles or goes up in a major amount in like a quick period of time, probably a good chance that whoever has this buy order was the one who would end up bringing the market up. And what do I do as a trader? Well, first thing I did was I just put my buy order to 297. That's the order I expected to have on Bittrex that came in. That was my only one so far from the time I went to bed last night, and I expected to get it, or at least I thought there was an okay chance. What I also did was I calculated on here where you see the sum. What I do is I look to see whereabouts 5 Bitcoin were. That's where I put my sell orders in. Because if this person just ends up going so aggressive and buys it up, then just maybe I probably don't want to sell at 380 or 420. And I have this on Cryptopia as well. I moved all my sell orders over there so that I wouldn't have any sells in like the lower numbers. And 400 doesn't. I had sell orders ready to go at 365 and through 410, but I want to adjust to the message of the market. And within such, that's how I done so. Okay, that will be it. Hockey picks will be available in the afternoon, probably closer to 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.